Welcome to my views and news, another video for you. Firstly, legendary Ethiopian singer Ali Birra has passed away. The man is an icon. He was an icon of Oromo music, Ethiopian music. Secondly, Ethiopian federal government today shared details of disarmament of Tigray People Liberation Front fighters. This explanation was being awaited. People were waiting TPLF to clarify about disarming. But Ridwan Hussain today spoke. He shared details. Tigray will not surrender all light weapons, he confirmed. Tigray will have a regional force. Tigray will have militias as well. It's not that all weapons will be surrendered by Tigray. He shared details which he shared when he was briefing diplomats in Addis Ababa. Just now I finished watching the entire briefing, so I want to share the contents of his talk on disarmament, because this is the main point of peace agreement which is being opposed by Tigrayan diaspora, Tigrayan opposition parties. And one of the reason behind stiff resistance being shown by Tigrayan diaspora, some members of TPLF and opposition parties of Tigray is because TPLF is largely silent. But Ridwan Hussain today clarified several things. We have details for you. Firstly, viewers, Ali Birra, legendary Ethiopian artist, singer, Oromo singer, has passed away. 72-year-old Ali Birra was treated for colon cancer. He was admitted at Adama Hospital. I remember earlier this year, I did two videos when PM Abiy and Addis Ababa mayor visited Ali Birra. Back then, Ali Birra was at Adama General Hospital receiving treatment there. Ali Birra's original name is Muhammad Ali, but the first song which he sang on stage had the word Birra, which means spring. So that is how his nickname became popular, Ali Birra, Ali the Spring. For around 50 years, he sang, a singer, an activist, and he suffered as well when governments launched crackdown on his associates. But he kept on singing. For 50 years he sang. And what I'm saying is that Oromos, Amharas, Tigrayans, all Ethiopians are sad today. They are extending condolences. So he was an Ethiopian icon, not just an Oromo icon, but an Ethiopian icon. And that is why condolences are pouring in. PM Abiy also shared a message of condolence. The man will be remembered for decades and centuries, perhaps. Condolence to the family of Ali Birra. May he rest in peace. Secondly, viewers, peace agreement. While Ethiopian federal government side is fully united and fully satisfied with the results which the government achieved, the peace agreement in South Africa. The other side is not as united, as confident. Why? Because TPLF did not care to brief its support base in detail. And when agreement was made public, first clause, main clause was about disarmament. Disarmament of Tigray forces, Tigray fighters. That Tigray fighters will surrender heavy weapons, light weapons. Government, Tigray regional government issued a statement. There was no mention of disarmament in that statement. TPLF silent. That is why we are seeing that Tigrayan diaspora is turning against TPLF, against Tigray regional government. But Ridwan Hussain today spoke. National Security Advisor Ridwan Hussain, who was part of the delegation from Ethiopian government side, which negotiated the peace agreement in South Africa. He today briefed diplomats in Addis Ababa. Diplomats of different countries were there, and Ridwan spoke in detail about the peace agreement. Again, I'm saying that TPLF should have briefed people of Tigray, opposite part of Tigray, diaspora as well about the peace agreement. It did not. Now, Ridwan firstly spoke about disarmament. What does it mean? Will Tigray fighters surrender all their weapons, heavy weapons and small weapons, heavy weapons and light weapons? No. He said TPLF combatants will surrender their heavy weapons to Ethiopian National Defense Force. Why? Because no region is allowed to have heavy weapons. Amhara, Afar, Oromo, no regional forces have heavy weapons, tanks, artillery pieces. So that is why all heavy weapons will be surrendered to Ethiopian National Defense Force, which will enter Mekelle peacefully. What about small weapons, light weapons, guns, etc.? TPLF combatants will surrender these light weapons to the government of Tigray. Right now there is government led by TPLF, but after a few weeks an interim setup will be put in place in Tigray. And that interim government will be in charge of weapons surrendered by Tigray fighters. And only the amount of weapons which Tigray is allowed to have will remain with the interim government of Tigray. Extra weapons, extra number of weapons will be handed over to Ethiopian Army. How much amount of weapons will remain in Tigray will depend upon Tigray's population. It is decided based on population. Like other regions, they have weapons for their regional forces, special forces, militias, but it is decided by the population. Large regions, bigger regions are allowed to have more weapons. So Tigray interim government will have weapons. The weapons, of course, will be given to regional forces. Tigray will have a regional force. Like there is Amhara regional force. Tigray will have a special force as well, like there is Amhara special force, Oromo special force, Somali region special force. Tigray will have a regional force, special force, maybe militias as well. And the weapons required for Tigray regional force, special force and Tigray militia will remain in Tigray. But TPLF will not be in charge of the weapons. Interim government will be in charge. Then election will be held and the elected government will be in charge of the arsenal, which will distribute the weapons to newly formed militias and regional forces, which will be formed in coming days or weeks. This is the detail which was much needed that people should have been briefed by TPLF. TPLF did not. It means that it's not that Tigray would surrender all weapons to Ethiopian National Defense Force, that ENDF would take these weapons out of Tigray. No. Heavy weapons will be surrendered. Light weapons will remain in Mekelle, other parts of Tigray, in major towns and cities. Regional forces will be established. Of course, who will be members of Tigray Regional Force, Tigray Special Force? Tigrayans. Tigrayans from Tigray will be part of regional forces, special force militias, who will be armed like other regional forces are armed. And they'll do law enforcement like other forces are doing. So this explanation given by Ridwan might convince some diaspora community members and some Tigrayan opposition party members as well that it's not that Tigray is losing everything. Yes, heavy weapons are being surrendered by Tigray regional government. He spoke about deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force, that ENDF will be deployed to Ethiopian borders, to federal institutions in Tigray, airports as well. It means that Eritrean military will have to withdraw. It is now ENDF's responsibility to secure Tigray's borders. So EDF will have to withdraw. They might not withdraw from Badme. I think Badme has been lost. It was granted to Eritrea by a boundary commission around 2 decades ago. I think Eritrea will remain in control of Badme. It will withdraw from other parts of Tigray. Tigray regional forces will be established. Tigray special force as well. They'll be armed too. So details are now starting to be released, which should have been released when the agreement was made public. We'll wait in coming videos about this peace agreement. Let's hope, let's pray that the peace agreement holds, it prevails, and lasting peace is achieved in Ethiopia, in Tigray region of Ethiopia. Thank you for watching.